So come to lie on your back with your knees bent and your feet on the earth beneath you. And pop your hands on your tummy. And just start to implement controlled breathing here. So you're breathing in, allowing the chest to rise. And as you exhale, allowing the back of the body to release onto the back of the mat. Close the eyes if that feels comfortable. So you want to be controlling your breath as you inhale and exhale, and noticing how that breath feels as it moves up through the front of the body on your inhale, and when it draws back down on your exhale, breathing in through your nose and out through your nose.
Remember, it's not the depth of your stretch, but how you accept the depth of your stretch. Continue a gentle, easy breath. Your eyes be soft.
And so now, as you continue your breathing, you're going to just allow the knees to flop open to each side. So just gently allowing them to flop open and bring the soles of your feet together. If you need some props here for your thighs, then just grab them and pop them under. You're not going to be here very long, but it can be nice. And just allow the arms to release away from the body here. And then we'll continue that breath, drawing the breath up through from the navel all the way up through to the chest, allowing the chest to expand. And then as we exhale, allowing the breath to just release and encouraging the back body, the back ribs to really relax into the earth. So we're getting a bit of a hip opener here, and when we're feeling slightly stressed or anxious, we feel tension in our hips, and that in turn runs all the way up to the body towards the jaw, which causes our jaw to be tense. And then simply draw those legs back in, back to where we were. And you're going to lift up your left leg in the air above you. So keeping that right leg bent, foot planted on the mat, your left leg up in the air. Now you can have a bend in the knee here, and it doesn't matter how high up you get this leg. Just keep that leg lifted, flexing the foot. If you need to hold on to the back of the leg, then do so. But you're going to get maximum benefit here if you try and keep the leg up and concentrate on your breathing. This will send more energy up into your brain and allowing any pain to subside. Sometimes I quite like to just hold on to my jogging pants, yoga pants, because your leg may start to twitch. And that's a sign that you've got that energy moving through your leg, going up into your body and your brain. You might by now need to interlace the fingers behind your thigh. And then release that left leg down. Just take a breath and then we'll do the other side. So let's just take a few breaths just to realign. Notice how you feel. Notice how that left leg feels. Notice if you can feel that energy moving up through the feet, through the foot, through into the knee, into the hip. Allowing the back to relax into the mat. And just controlling that breath. Breathing in and breathing out. You might want to just take a stretch with that left leg. Maybe stretch it out onto the mat in front of you. Maybe releasing any tension that you're feeling. And then draw that left leg back in if you've taken that stretch. And we'll come on to our right leg now. So remember to focus on your breath even though you're going into a movement. Drawing that right leg up as high as you can. Bent knee, flexed foot. Releasing tension in the back of the thigh, in the glutes, hamstrings. Noticing if it feels any different to the other side. And now that you've got your leg in your maximum place, start to develop your breathing. Allowing the chest to rise on your inhale. And allowing the back of the ribs to relax on your exhale. Just listen to the music. Back off if you need to. And then slowly release your right leg back down to the mat. You may want to extend it away from you to give it a bit of a stretch. Keeping the foot flexed. Noticing how you feel. Can you feel that energy coming up through your leg, your hip, into your organs? But can you also feel that relaxation of your back body lying on the mat beneath you? Then bring that right leg back up, plant the right foot down, both knees bent. Draw both knees in. Bring your upper body up so that you can give yourself a hug. So just grab onto a wrist, drawing those arms around your knees. Don't forget to breathe. Maybe move from side to side, wiggling the feet, enjoying the stretch in the back of the body, shoulders. And then release your head back down, and then rock yourself up if you can to seat, or just come up to seated position. And then we're going to come into cross-legged, so bring any props to get your hips higher than your knees. As you can see, I'm sitting on a meditation cushion. So if you can see where my hip is, it's much higher than my knees. And then close the eyes and pop your hands on your knees. If you feel uncomfortable with the eyes closed, then just stare ahead. Just make that focus slightly squinted, just so you're not distracted with anything ahead of you. And start to focus on that breath as you inhale and as you exhale. Inhale, drawing the breath up through the front body, and exhale, allowing those shoulders to relax and really start to connect with the back of the ribs. Now take your palms facing up, still on the back of your knees, fingers wide. Just giving gratitude to this practice and receiving the energy.
Nourishing your organs, the life energy of your breath. You exhale, drawing your navel in deep against your spine. Full exhale. This tends to be contrary to how we're taught to breathe. It takes a little time, a little practice. Be patient with yourself. Allow your breath.
And then you're going to just take a few breaths here before we come into a movement practice. So really start to connect with your breath, as this will help you with the movement. If at any time you get tired, then just sit back in this position that you're in now, with your eyes closed or looking at the distance and your palms facing up on your knees.
Breath. Open your eyes.
So uncross the legs and cross them a different way if you've got one in front of the other, because you've been sat here for quite a while, so just releasing any tension. If that doesn't feel comfortable, then sit back in the position that you were in. Bring your palms to your heart, calming down the nervous system. Then bring your palms to prayer, thumbs to heart. On your inhale, bring your palms up, look up. And on your exhale, bring your palms in front together and drop your chin to your chest. On your inhale, palms to prayer to heart. And on your exhale, widen your arms. Inhale, look up. Exhale, bringing your hands down in front of you, chin to chest. Inhale, palms to chest. Head to neutral. Exhale, widen the arms. Inhale, arms up, look up. And exhale, come forward with your arms. Inhale to prayer. So you're going to continue this flow. You might not be exactly with me, but you're going to keep moving your arms as you're moving out and up and down and then back in again. So it's your inhale and exhale with movement here, bringing some beautiful energy into the arms, into the shoulders, as you're breathing in and as you're breathing out. Continue with this practice. Listen to the music. You might need to just glance up at me if you get lost with what you're doing. You can't do this wrong. Whatever's working for you is your inhale and exhale, just moving through the flow. So take a breath, inhale, and then exhale, arms come out. Inhale, look up, and exhale, down. Inhale, back to center, palms to prayer, chin to chest. Our last movement for this part of the practice. We're just going to stay here for a while. Notice how you feel. Notice how you feel with that energy moving up and through your body. Continuing to breathe. Continuing to connect your body with breath. And then as you really start to connect with your breath, we're going to do some more movement now that you've had a rest physically. Let's get that movement going back in the body again. If you want to stay here, then that's absolutely fine. The idea of this is to understand how to be still and how to move with intention. Breathing in and breathing out. On your next inhale, bring your arms up, look up, and stay here for a few breaths, drawing those shoulder blades away from the arms. Breathe. As you inhale, drawing that energy all the way up from the mat, from your seat, all the way up to the front of the chest. And as you exhale, allowing that energy to come all the way down the back of the body. A few more breaths. And release. Drop your chin to your chest. Just allow your hands to relax in your lap. Notice how you feel. Then inhale, bring the arms up again. Breathe. A few more breaths. Focus on sending that breath up into the brain. And release the arms all the way down, but just bring them shoulder height. And then release, chin to chest. So bring those arms back up to shoulder height again. And then bring them forward, palms together and back out. Just do this a few more times. Exhale as you come back. Inhale, bringing palms together. Exhale, come out. And then we'll just flow that with breath. So coming up and back down, and then out and in front. So as we inhale and exhale, just flowing through, looking up, looking down. Just make this movement what works for you. Moving with breath, flowing the arms. It doesn't matter if you're doing something different than I am. If you prefer to keep going up with your arms and then dropping your chin to your chest, or if you like the movement coming out and back in, we're just moving through breath, allowing the spine and the shoulders to release. Releasing any tension in the fingers, the shoulder blades, moving them back and down.
Warmth generating in the shoulders. Generous breath.
And then try and see if you can get your fingertips onto your shoulders and maybe rotate those shoulders back and forward, using the elbows to lift up. Remember to breathe. Going one way, then the other way, releasing any tension in the upper back and the middle back. And then just drop the fingers down to the earth. And then just ease out the neck here, just easing out some tension here in the neck. So moving that head one way, other way. Allowing the jaw to be soft. Dropping the chin to the chest. Breathing through any discomfort. Remember, if it's pain, then you should back off. Just allowing that breath to really release the back of your neck. And notice where you're feeling tension with your fingertips on the ground. And then bring your head back up to neutral. Don't forget to breathe. Shoulders away from the ears. Can you press those fingertips into the mat any amount? So bring the hands back to the knees now. Just notice how you feel. Any tingling sensation in the fingers, the wrists. Let the elbows be heavy. Shoulders heavy. Allowing any tension in the jaw, in the cheeks, to just release. Notice if you can feel that energy now moving up through your body. Sometimes I get a little wobbly. I feel like I'm moving. I feel like my upper body is sort of shifting slightly with the energy going through it. Might be something you feel. You might feel warmer. You might feel a sense of contentment. Might feel a little bit dizzy. And then remove any props if you've got them, and you might want some comfort for your knees, so a nice blanket. Just pop that sort of in the middle of your yoga mat, or maybe further back. It's 2/3 back. We'll just move Bonnie out the way. And then we're just going to come into cat-cow. So you want wrists under your shoulders, knees under your hips. I want you to just drop that head and round the back and tuck the tail. You're going to be here for a few breaths. So really breathe in deeply. And then come back up into cow. So now you're pressing your hands in and your gaze is looking up. So we're just moving through breath with our spine now. So you might not be in line with me. Move with your own breath as you inhale and as you exhale. Now if you get to a cat or a cow and it feels nice to stay there and breathe, then do that. Just stay in that position slightly longer for a few breaths if it feels good. And what we're doing here is we're bringing that energy from our feet, from our hands and arms and legs, now into our hips and our spine. So moving through breath, moving that spine. So rather than take your focus to your head, take your focus to your spine. You're moving it bone by bone as you roll up into cat and as you roll back into cow. Enjoying the stretch. Enjoying the movement. If you get too tired, then have a breather. So I sometimes get pain in my wrists, so I need to just take some time out now and again when I get that pain or cramp. So do what feels good for your body. If this isn't working for you, then just sit it out. But try and breathe whilst you're sitting waiting for the next movement. Or maybe move much slower, maybe taking a few breaths as you move into cat slowly and mindfully. Maybe taking a few breaths as you come into cow. So now take your hands about hand width away from you, tuck the toes, and you're going to press up into down dog. So pressing the hands a lot into the mat and lift your legs. Now if this is your first time in down dog, take it easy. Come back down on your knees if you get tired. Breathe. Let the head drop.
Soften your chest towards your toes into our down dog. Palms pressed to the mat.
So in down dog, allowing the weight of the head to release any tension in the neck, in the jaw. You can have your knees bent here, and your heels don't need to be on the mat. And breathe. And then slowly start to walk your hands back towards your feet, and we're coming into a forward fold. So knees bent, and just let your arms hang, bringing some release in the shoulders, in the back, spine, and also lengthening the hamstrings. So allowing the legs to get a nice stretch here without overdoing it. You can just back off a bit and come back down. So coming to your edge. If your hands don't reach the ground, then use props. Just allowing the top of your body to be heavy. Releasing that tension. But as you're breathing in and breathing out, you're still moving that energy around your body. Maybe take a hold of the elbows if that's something that you find comfort in. Or you might want to take your arms onto the tops of your thighs. If you're getting a bit tired, clasping the hands in front. So now come down onto your knees. So just take it easy. And we're just going to sit here for a moment, close the eyes. So now from our kneeling position, we're going to come into goddess pose. So just start to focus on your breath as you're coming into this posture. Remember, don't lose that breath. So you want your feet as wide as the mat, or wider than hip width. And we're going to come down into a squat. So turn the feet out. And then you're going to come down into your squat. Now, you might want some props here to allow your buttocks to come all the way down. You're going to be here. We're going to do a movement whilst we're here. So I want you to be comfortable. I don't want you struggling with your knees. So you want to just sit down on your props, keeping those knees apart, using your elbows and palms into prayer. Now, if you just want to sit here, then just sit here. That's fine. But we are going to come into a little bit of a movement flow. So joined on the mat with Heidi now. So this is a really good posture to do when you're about to start your period. So as you can see, we're doing that same posture that we did at the beginning of the class with our flow of arms. Just moving in and out, but with controlled breath. Taking a pause. Just doing what feels right. Maybe coming up on the inhale and forward on the exhale. Just moving through that flow with breath. Your moves don't need to be that big. If you can't reach your arms all the way over your head, then just come up halfway. And then let's release out of that and just step yourself all the way back into a downward facing dog. And just take a few breaths here as you come all the way through and back into your forward fold. So now from here we're going to come into another flow for our legs and our feet. So I want you to come up to tabletop, so your palms just below your knees, your gaze forward, and then you're going to exhale down and let the head release. So when you inhale, coming up, and when you exhale, down and round and drop the head. Inhale, coming up, exhale, release. So now we're going to come into a little bit of a flow here with our legs. So what I want you to do is lift those heels off the mat, pop them back down, lift and release. So using the hands to steady. If you need blocks for your hands, just grab them. And then you're going to come down into a squat, lifting those heels off the mat. And then you're going to come back up to a forward fold, releasing the heels back down. Go heels down, forward fold. And then heels up, moving up and down with breath. Bring the heels up and then down. Just be mindful of your knees. Take it slow. Intentionally move with breath. Notice how this feels in your toes. It's good. This is good to stretch the toes. It's also good for the Achilles heels, which can often get quite tight. And then come all the way down on your knees and extend your arms in front, and we're going to come into child's pose. So grab some props and place your head on the block. So just start to notice how your breath feels in this position. If this is too much on your tummy area, then just move your hands back. Bring in extra props under your head. Try and keep your elbows off the ground, but if this is too much in your shoulders, then by all means release those elbows onto the ground. Releasing any tension in the back of the body, in the hips. And then slowly bring yourself all the way up. And then you're going to come around and sit on your mat with your legs out in front. Take a hold of your elbows and flex your feet. And then just drop your chin to your chest. So giving yourself a little bit of a hug here. But you're still bringing that movement, that prana into your legs and your arms. Then bend the knees, plant the feet, and bring your arms up in front, still crossed. And then slowly move back and forward, tucking the head. So again, we're bringing this movement to the spine, to the hips, as we move with flow. Exhale, release. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, coming back. So move with your own breath. Go at your own pace. You might get further back than me. You might get further forward. Just using your breath to bring movement and relaxation into your body. If you do have some props, maybe put a block between your knees and a block in your hands. This can feel slightly different. So we're just going to move back and forward. So now I want you to squeeze that block between the knees and squeeze that block between the hands. So bringing some more movement, more pressure into the hands, into the knees as you move with flow and with breath. So sometimes during the month you might feel like this works, sometimes it doesn't. It might be depending on the month how you're feeling. And then come back to center. Just place your hands just underneath your knees and just notice that energy, that prana. Bringing the knees in closer. Maybe grabbing hold of one of your wrists. Just taking this stillness, this time. Drop the chin to the chest. Breathing in and breathing out. And if you'd clasped one of your wrists, maybe change the grip. A few more breaths. And then we're going to come into a couple of twists. So I want you to come onto your back. We're going to do our left leg first. So come onto your back, knees bent, feet down on the mat. You're going to bring your left ankle over your right knee, flex the left foot. You might want to scooch that right foot over a little bit so it's in the midline. Using your left palm, push your left knee away from you. Now to maintain this stretch, do keep that left foot flexed, or toes pointing up towards the ceiling. This will alleviate any pain that you might have in the knee. And this stretch is really good for the glutes, so that's the back of the buttocks, hamstrings, and the sciatic nerve. If you want a deeper stretch, lift up your torso off the mat, interlace your fingers through the gap behind your right thigh, and allow that right leg to just completely relax. Let that right leg be really heavy, allowing your shoulder blades to relax on the earth. Close the eyes and just melt. Let gravity do the work. Then release. And then we're going to come over to the left. So you're just going to drop your legs over to the left, still keeping that left ankle on the right knee. Left hand on your belly. And then bring your right arm up above your head with the palm facing up, if that feels comfortable. You might want a prop for your left knee. You might want a prop for your right arm. Just bringing a real good stretch to the right side of the body, from the armpit all the way down the right side. Bring the right arm back. Unhook the legs. Bring the legs up to center. And then come back into center and we'll do the other side. So our right leg now, so bringing that right leg up over the left knee, flex that right foot, pushing the right knee away from you with your right hand, left hand on tummy, breathe. And you can just stay here if that feels good for you. Or if you want more, lift the torso, hook the arms underneath, behind your left thigh, and just let that left leg completely relax. Remember to keep that right foot flexed. You might want to try and see what it's like with the left foot flexed. Releasing the shoulder blades down to the earth. And then release. And take your legs over to the right, keeping that right ankle on the left knee. So I'm using some props this time, just so that I can really truly relax into the posture, so I'm not really having to do anything here. Extending that left arm up above your head, palm facing up if it feels good. Bringing a nice stretch into the left side of the body, from the fingertips all the way down the side body into the armpit, down all the way down the side to that left hip. Remember, you're still breathing here, so you're still circulating that energy. Release your left arm down. Bring your legs back up to center, releasing. And then just take a moment, draw the right knee in, draw the left knee in. Just taking it in turns, left knee, right knee, and then end on your left knee. And take your left hip out to the side and just start to rotate. Left hand on left knee. You're rotating the hip, not the leg. Nice smooth circles as you're breathing in and breathing out. Release. Draw your right leg up. Take the hip out to the right. And then using your right hand on your right knee, circling that right hip. One way, then the other way. Just releasing any tension in the hips. Don't forget to breathe. And then draw both knees into your chest. Rock from side to side. And then we're going to come into bridge variation pose. So I'd recommend a block for this, or a couple of pillows might do. Just something to for your back, for your lower back. And actually, if you've got really, really bad period pain, this is a really good posture to do. So I would really recommend you invest in some blocks. So plant your feet, bent knees, then you're going to lift your hips up and you're just going to place that block underneath the base of your back. And then you're going to walk those feet further back in towards your buttocks. Just pop your hands on your tummy. So lifting the hips up away from the earth. So like I say, can be really effective for period pain. I'm going to show you the actual full variation now. So drawing the legs in further, you want to try and see if you can touch your back of your heels with your fingertips. And then you lift up your buttocks. And breathe. And for the full variation, clasp the hands. Draw those shoulder blades really up and under, keeping the pinky fingers down on the ground behind you. Pressing the feet into the mat, really energetically using the muscles in the legs. Don't forget to breathe. Release the hands and then bone by bone release the back. Bringing those knees into the chest, circling one way, circling the other way. And drop the feet down to the mat. Take your head to the right, just easing out any tension in the neck. Breathing down the left side of your neck into that left shoulder blade. And take your head to the left. Breathing down into the right side of the neck. releasing any tension. Bringing your head back to center. Just take a moment. Notice how you feel. And we're going to come into fish pose. So lift your hips and place your hands underneath your buttocks. So hands facing down, so your buttocks should be resting on your hands. Point your toes. Lift your head and your torso, and then drop your head back. So you're shimmying your elbows in, and then dropping your head back, pointing those toes. Just a nice release in the clavicle area. It's the front of the chest, between the throat and your chest bone. Releasing any tension in that area, in the throat area. Again, using the weight of your head to release. To come out of it, lift the head first, drop the torso, then lift your buttocks to release your hands and draw your knees into your chest. And then bring your knees together, and we'll just take those knees over to the left side, maybe extending that right arm away from you, left hand on tummy. So the knees are just bent and dropped over to the left. Maybe take your gaze over to the left. Releasing that tension. Just unwinding before we come into our final resting pose, Shavasana, corpse pose. Remember to breathe. Bring the head back to center, right arm in, bring the legs up, bump the hips back to the center, bump the hips over to the left, and then drop the knees over to the right, extending that left arm away from you. You might want to prop. I have a handy Heidi prop here. If it's too much on the arm, it's too much on an angle, then just take the arm out to the side like I have here, and take your head over to the right. Or the center, or take your head to the left. Whatever feels good for your neck. And bring yourself back to center. And get yourself prepared for Shavasana. So you want your legs wider than the mat. You might want some props for under your knees. So I've got a couple of blocks here that I'm going to try out. You might want a pillow for your head. So I've decided to opt for a softer pillow underneath my knees. Just try things out and see what works. And then get yourself comfortable with a blanket, eye pillow. So now that you're in Shavasana, corpse pose, start to relax your whole body into the earth. You can now let go of your controlled breathing and just allow your breathing to be natural and even, just steady as it flows through your body. Allowing your toes to relax, your ankles, your knees, your hips, your fingers, your wrists, elbows, all of the organs in your body, allowing the rib cage, the front ribs, the back ribs, and your spine to completely relax. Allowing the back of your head and your neck to connect with the pillow or the floor beneath you. And just allow the facial muscles, the jaw, the cheeks, the lips, eye sockets, and the front of the forehead to just completely melt and let go. Just lie back, listen to the music, and relax. So start to deepen your breath now. Starting to bring a signal to your brain that you're going to move, wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, bringing the legs into one another, and then drawing the legs up, and take yourself over to whichever side feels comfortable for you, left or right. Just allowing your brain to reconnect with your body and the room that you're in, the ground that you're on, noticing any other sounds. And then using your top arm, press yourself all the way up to seated position. You might need a prop for your seat. Just take your time. Maybe place the blanket over your legs. Bring your palms to prayer with your thumbs into your heart center. Take a nice big deep breath in through the nose. And we bow, Namaste. Thank you so much for your practice. I really do hope that you found this practice beneficial. Thank you.